And we're live on a beautiful Saturday. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show with once again the fashion diva herself. I'm getting good at this. The fashion diva herself, the branthropist, Yolanda M. Smith. What's up?
What's up, Dre? Where did I get that title?
Hey,
I got a new title.
You coming in all G'd up, making me look bad, man.
Listen, you know, when you're a brand, you got to represent. Somebody said that the other day. They go, you show up, I mean, we just be waiting because we don't know what you're going to wear and how you coming in representing because you always got your little stuff on point.
I like it. I like the cuffs.
Yeah. Got the little cuffs, got my little shoes matching.
Yeah.
But it's just a little casual Saturday. We just here chillaxing.
But we're not just here to relax. We're here to really talk about something that you're passionate about, and that's about branding. So let me take the viewers down the path to understand what the show is about today, because it's real crucial, because I know how important the word branding is to you and how you want to teach people the importance of branding. Yolanda started out with the book, the award-winning book, Reputation to Awards. Let's call it what it is.
Okay.
Reputation to Award. This was actually the book that I read when I first got into podcasting, and I think they know the story. I read it, middle of the night. I called you and was like, tell your husband this ain't a booty call, but I got an idea.
You want to be on the show.
I want you to be on the show because this book was so impactful, because it taught me that I was already a brand, but it basically, with your help, your courses, and being a part of the show, helped me elevate the brand and to really magnify the importance of a brand.
Right.
But tell the viewers about, let's start out with this book first before we get into exactly what the show is about. What inspired this book before we get into your new venture?
Okay, that's fair enough. So reputation.
I caught you, didn't I?
You did catch me. You on your stuff. Okay. So reputation to reward was actually inspired from the fact that I think that a lot of times as just everyday individuals, whether you work in corporate America, you're a coach, you're an entrepreneur, you don't really think about the fact that you personally are a brand. We look at brands as things like products, right? So, or major companies. So you take a Nike and the swoosh and you go, that's a brand. You know what I mean? You look at somebody like the former Steve Jobs or an Apple, that's a brand. But you never looked at yourself individually as a brand. So what I wanted to help people to understand is that personal branding is truly about how you articulate your value to other people, how you help other people understand what your superpowers are, what you do, and why that's important. Because here's the deal. If you think it's reserved for people like athletes, celebrities, and politicians, you're so wrong.
Right.
Now, it used to be that you would find those people put more emphasis on it. They hired PR people to really help them elevate and maintain positive reputations and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Run defense, manage crises, especially in politics, there's a lot of crises.
We won't go there today.
Okay. But I think that as the everyday person, you did not think that related to yourself.
Right.
And that is such a myth. Because think about it, if you are not being the CEO of your own brand, if you're not managing your own relationship and the collateral that is comes behind you, then you're allowing somebody else to do it, plain and simple.
A prime example, and I watched Air, and I thought so much about you, because at first I wasn't going to watch that show. Mm-hmm. And I watched it, and it was amazing. You said the swoosh, and you had a competition of 3 brands: Converse, Reebok, and Nike. But nobody really knew who Nike was, but they was only affiliated with the swoosh in the running. But it's amazing how one guy, we won't get into the movie, but the importance of that one guy. Sometimes your brand can amplify somebody else's brand.
Totally.
Like the one individual did with Nike.
Well, we know who it is,
Yeah.
but you don't want to mention Michael Jordan. Okay. I meant it. Am I going?
Michael
look,
Jordan.
Does he? Now you need to pay me, Mike. No, I'm just. No, I mean that's true. So the point there is that you can have a personal brand. You can have positive attributes about you. Why do you think that companies do endorsements?
Yeah.
They endorse because they know that these individuals, whether they're celebrity athletes or whomever, have a level of influence, and they want the followers that follow them.
Like Adidas did with Run DMC, and it was like Adidas didn't even know who Run DMC was.
No, and then you know how they started doing the liquor beverages with the rappers and all this, and then they started having, anyway, we're not going down that road, but the point is because they do have a level of celebrity,
Right,
which creates a following and an influence, but we're talking about it as it relates to the everyday person.
Right.
And so as it relates to the everyday person, what that means for you is that if you're able to be able to tell your story, if you're able to be able to make connections and people understand the things that you do extremely well, then you can be tapped on the shoulder for those things.
Let me ask you a question real
quick. You
quick.
can create influence.
But don't you find that the problem that we have, individuals, is that we really don't take the time to know what we're good at because we're too busy. Let me rephrase this. So you know where I'm going to go.
I already know where you're getting ready to go.
School teaches us how to be laborers.
Oh, geez.
They don't teach us how to be entrepreneurs. So how would you tell somebody?
I had to drink that Starbucks coffee.
We like to give shouts out to Starbucks. At this time. Which one are you drinking?
I have the flat white with hazelnut. I make my own concoction.
Okay.
That does not surprise the audience, I'm sure. But yes, you're right. Okay, so what you're saying is why would we do that and know what we're good at when we're too busy making somebody else's stuff good?
And a lot of times we don't know what we're good at.
Sometimes you don't, but that's why you get coaches like me to help you pull that out.
Explain to the viewers what a coach is.
So a coach is a person that you would actually retain to be able to help you to achieve certain goals and visions that you have in your life. And ideally, what you do is you're trying to find someone who has been where you want to go or has very specific skill sets that you want to obtain, and they can guide you, and provide direction. Now, don't get it twisted. Right now, coaching is a huge business. It's not regulated, and everybody wants to be a coach.
Is there a difference between a coach and a mentor?
Yes, a mentor. Now, this is just my opinion. So, I mean, you can look it up and kind of get a formal definition. But typically for me, I have mentors outside of my sphere of expertise. But typically when I had mentors, when I worked in corporate America for several decades, I would find somebody that had already done what I'm trying to do, were very well connected, had influence, right? And could help me navigate.
Wait a minute. Repeat those key points, because I think people need to clearly understand there is a difference between a mentor, because you just mentioned some key attributes that individuals need to look for when they're looking at a life coach. And what were those again?
Well, as a mentor, so coaching is a little different than mentoring, although they can blur lines, because your coach can be your mentor. Okay. You know what I mean? But typically a mentor is not necessarily a paid relationship. A coaching arrangement is typically a paid relationship, and we're trying to get you somewhere. We have some very specific things that we want to accomplish, and we're going to help guide you to get those things done, right? Okay. So we really give you processes, systems, methodologies, techniques to get you where you want to go. A mentor, on the other hand, is somebody that's just already made it to where you choose to be. And what you're doing is you're kind of picking their brain. Okay. They like you. They want to see you do well. They'll knowledge share with you. They'll introduce you.
There's a limitation.
They'll introduce you to people. But they're not sitting down and mapping out your goals and creating strategies and helping you. It's a little bit different. They can tell you what they are. They can tell you need this. If you want to get to this level, this is what you may need to do. Or, if you want to do this, you need to know this person, this person, this person. I mean, it's kind of that person that literally, again, helps you navigate through a structure. Now, That's in the corporate world. You can have mentors that exist in maybe associations that you belong to that will help you to be able to connect through those associations, or you can have them in your specific field of expertise. So if you have got expertise and you do it as an entrepreneur, doesn't mean you can't find a mentor that, like, you can have a mentor in speaking, but you can also have a speaking coach. And that's somebody that you would pay to be a part of their program, and you get very specific skill sets, techniques, opportunities, all that sort of stuff. So it's a little bit different, but it definitely can get blurred.
What was the life-changing moment for you? This just didn't happen overnight. You must have had skill sets or something in place, some type of structural map before you decided to write the first book.
Yeah. Okay. So look.
Maybe I'm hitting you with the question. Look, got my automatic.
Let's take it back a step. Okay. So first of all, when you think about how did I even get into this?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Let's take it back. Then it'll make sense. Because if I just start with the book, it's not gonna make sense. Okay. So let's take it back. It was about 2013, and I was the chair of a nonprofit called Girl Talk. Shout out to my girl, Sonia Cook. She's doing the darn thing with these girls. But Girl Talk Incorporated. And I was the chair of their board. But I didn't want to just sit around and do all the administrative stuff and fundraise. I wanted to roll up my sleeves and engage with the girls. So when I started researching, how could I provide them some tools and resources that could really help them where they were, to be able to have a level of confidence, to be able to know how to utilize their voice, to understand how to be their best self. Well, I stumbled upon personal branding in my research. So then I researched some more, and I said, I kind of like this. Yeah, this kind of fits and aligns with what I want to do.
You probably lit up like crazy. I can tell.
Well, I did. And then I created a workshop. So I created a workshop because just years before, I had created a whole curriculum, master level curriculum, for the company that I was working for. So I knew how to put together a workshop. I had done a whole curriculum. So I put together the workshop.
But let's stop 1 second. People need to also understand you're very well educated.
Well, yeah, but let's
give
talk.
Shouts out to what it is. You just didn't just.
Well, I have been in the industry for years, and I started my career in sales, in pharmaceutical industry. I started in sales, and I have to admit, because I had a knack, a gift of gab, I had a knack.
A gift of what?
Gab. I could talk. I could run that mouth. I could talk. This is funny. So I'm going to digress. So last week I got an award, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I
got the Speaker
I like
Award
the dress
of Excellence.
too.
Thank you.
I like the other outfits too.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I was doing my dang old thing
Yeah,
last
I saw
week.
you doing your shit now.
Okay, but this was funny. So I'm getting up and I'm giving my acceptance speech, right? And so one of the things that just hits me impromptu is you have to tell people, and it was really kind of a dig to my teachers. I don't even know if they still living, but I always was told I talk too much. She, on the report card, she talks too much. She's disruptive to the other kids. She talks
Little
too
did
much.
they know.
But it was funny because my mom would get me, but she really wouldn't get me. Nah, you can't be doing all that talking. But baby, you can be anything you want to be. So she building the confidence up while they over here talking about. So fast forward to years later, my talking too much got me a Speaker Excellence Award. But none. I think it's important to share your voice, which is also what branding is about. Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, let's back up.
I got you going.
Yeah, you did. But anyway, so I started delivering these workshops, and what happened is the parents started showing up, and then they were like, we need this stuff. If you give it to us, we could give it to our daughters, but we don't even know this stuff.
Right.
And I pondered that, and I was like, what? And that was my aha moment. And I said, you know what? You need to level this thing up. You can take this to a professional level, and see how it hits.
Right.
And I had an opportunity, I think it was about maybe 2015, 2016, at the company I was working for. They asked me to do a couple workshops at a major forum. It was an all-day event for one of the employee resource groups. You guys, I get on stage and do my personal branding presentation, speech, and killed it. I mean, I knew I was killing it. Let me tell you, there's a certain thing when you know what you know.
Did you get the old Hulk feeling where you was like,
it was just like you was in the zone.
Yeah.
And I could tell. And when the people were engaging back and forth with me, by the time I was done delivering the presentation, there was literally a line. I'm not making this up. There was a line around the stage. These people had no clue that I actually worked for the company. They thought I was a hired speaker that had come into the company and wanted more. I mean,
like
just
moment.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew this is what I was destined to do. Okay. I knew it right from that day, and I never stopped. I mean, I didn't monetize it until 2018, and that's when I actually created my business. And the business was created because I had a situation at work where I had a supervisor, a leader that didn't like me. And she was destined to destroy my career. She tried hard.
Hold that thought. Hey, this is the Andre the Beast Crayton Show with my beautiful co-host Yolanda M. Smith, talking about branding for success, how to overcome the whole 9 yards. Like, share,
comment,
subscribe. Do the whole 9 yards. Okay, so you just take us back. You said you got into, now you're in the workplace. We didn't got to mention where you work. You had somebody that was a
she was a hater. She was a hater.
You know what I call it? A distraught employee.
She was a hater. I mean, I don't know why this woman didn't know me. I mean, she didn't. And I'm telling the story, and I don't work there anymore, so I can tell the story. I don't mention names or anything like that, but no, she didn't. But the point I want to make is I'm not going to get into all the details of how she didn't like me. I want you as the viewing audience to understand not everybody's going to be your cheerleader. So this is, but here's the point I'm going to give you. So she ran around digging and poking and prodding, trying to find anything she could that could actually destroy me, right? I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, so I sat back, let her run her thing. It was all good, not tripping. Then HR calls me one day and has me come to the office. I'm excited, thinking this is going to be over, and found out that they actually demoted me and took my team away from me. And I'm sitting here devastated, like, you did what? For what reason?
Yeah.
So fast forward, I had a couple months I spent really trying to process this and think about what it was I was going to do. And in my heart, I didn't want to go back, but I figure I had two things I had to consider. One, was I going to take any accountability? And number two, was I going to give one person power over my destiny? So to number one, the question was, yes, I took some accountability, because guys, this is what I didn't do. What I didn't tell you about the story is that they had moved our team based on a restructure to another department. I was so focused on my team that I was not building relationships with the people that existed. We were the new people, but I didn't build the relationships I needed to build.
So it was also a learning lesson at the same time after you basically went back and reevaluated, because
I didn't tell my story. I wasn't telling my story. So when I didn't tell my story, I gave somebody else the narrative. Okay. She ran the narrative, and they didn't know me, so they believed her.
And people have a tendency to do that in life. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They go, well, why is that person up? Because you let somebody else take the narrative.
So the question is, going back to what you said when you read the book, this is what Andre said, I realized that I was a brand. You absolutely are a brand. So the question is, are you being intentional and strategic with your brand?
Right.
Or are you allowing other people?
And you know what? What you said, relying on other people, you was right, because I remember them. We won't mention names, but I remember individuals trying to take my brand and redirect it to where it was for them. And I'm like, oh, hold down. I don't want to be boxed into one category.
Right.
That's because I do this doesn't mean that I'm one-dimensional in who I am.
Right.
So that book was so inspirational to me. I was like, I'm going to write my own narrative. I'm tired of other people saying what they want to say to write my stories.
Right. So I had to take accountability. Then number two, I decided, hell to the no. I wasn't giving nobody power over my destiny. How dare you? Who do you think you are?
Right.
And so that was at that moment that I decided I'm going to just be humble, because you guys, there's no ego in branding. Let's be clear. Sometimes it's about the value you deliver to other people, how you show up. How are you showing up? Are you being authentic? Are you creating the genuine connections? So I just sucked it up. held my head up high, walked back into them doors, and was determined I was going to change the narrative. But in the meantime, I wasn't no dummy. Let me just tell you. I said I'm going to start my business because I'm never going to put my eggs in one basket and give somebody that much control over my life.
That was
And
definitely a game changer for you.
How Branding for Success was birthed.
Okay.
In the meantime, then I also started to write the book, because I knew that based upon what had happened to me, I was going to shout it to the mountaintops, the importance of having a personal brand. But here's the other key. You ready for this one? Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I was mid-career that I had a coach, a sponsor, or a mentor. Nobody. And think about this. You've been in pharmaceutical sales. I was successful. I had gotten promotions. My career was on a trajectory going up until I met this woman. But do you know that up until just years before meeting her, nobody had ever told me that I needed a coach, a sponsor, or mentor?
Why do you think that? It's the world's best kept secret, I guess.
Well, you know what? It's kind of like this. If they deem you to be a high potential, they'll pour into you. I came into the organization mid-career, so perhaps they said she's got great skills. We'd love to have her, but we're not giving her that level of guidance and information. But even the companies that I worked for before that still never said you need to make sure you always have a mentor or a coach, somebody that guides you. I can only imagine. Let me tell you, it's not even about being smart. It's not even about being educated. I had so much curiosity. I wanted to learn. I wanted to do things.
Curiosity didn't kill this cat.
No, not this one. But you know what I'm saying? I had so much drive. Yeah. I knew what I wanted in life.
Do you think that the drive intensified based in the corporate thing before that led to the book? Did you think, had that not happened, the distraught employee, the hater, do you think that might have fueled you? Had that not had happened, do you think that I know it's hypothetical, but do you think that maybe that changed your outlook? And if that didn't happen,
everything happens for a reason.
Right. Okay? But do you think that fueled you? Let's be real.
I think it was in me, because remember what I told you, 2013, it had been building up.
Right.
I think what happened at that point is that, and this is the honest truth, I prayed and I say, Lord, help me understand, what am I supposed to get out of this? Mm-hmm. Andre, up until that point, things have been easy for me. I mean, I would just go in, I would perform well, people liked me, I would get things. I didn't have a real story to tell.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I had made the connections, I was doing it, but it's only when you face adversity.
And adversity was the hater.
You're able to channel that inner beast, mm-hmm, and get back up, that you can then tell people, listen, I followed my 5 essential steps of a powerful brand. I did my brand signature formula stuff. I followed my own proven processes, and it worked. Right. Because what happened is that subsequently, a couple years later, I get a call from a person that says basically, hey, they got a new department that's been approved, and you'll be the perfect leader to lead and staff that team. And I'm like, quit playing. They're like, no, I'm serious. I want you to do this, do ABC. Next thing I know, I was promoted back to level, building a team all the way from the ground up. Now, if I was that bad at the same company, how the heck would you give me another leader opportunity and build the team from the ground up?
The universe is a motherfucker, you know that, right?
Well, but that just shows you what a powerful brand will do for you. And so then it just built that credibility even more. And I just sit here today saying I walked out of corporate America January 31st, running this business full time. You know what I mean?
Now, Branding for Success, your book is definitely a bestseller. How can because this is what I would recommend, and you tell me if I'm wrong. You know, and you said it. There's courses and steps. There's a blueprint to success. And to me, even with the show, I followed your blueprint. I followed the blueprint, and the first blueprint was definitely
reputation to reward. Because that explains it. That tells you why it's important, what benefits you can get from it, and then it takes you through the exercises to start really building your confidence to tell people who you are. Because innately, We're not comfortable talking about ourselves.
I think I just mentioned that to somebody before you got here.
Yeah, we're not comfortable talking
Yeah.
about ourselves. Now, I could talk about you all day long and tell the world how wonderful you are and how you've overcome and the stuff that you've done.
What about the bad stuff?
But then well, I'll tell them that too. We keep it real on this show. But the point is that when it comes to talking about yourself, you're not. But if you're not your own cheerleader, who's going to be? And so what happened? Let's talk about the next one. So that's how reputation to reward.
Wait a minute. Let me introduce the next
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I'm running this one now.
Oh, sick it now.
So, viewers, definitely get Reputation Show. How can they get this book first? Because I'd rather for them to start with understanding the mission. So, how can they get this?
Yeah, so Reputation to Reward, you can get it off of my website, yolandamsmith.com, yolandamsmith.com, and it's under the book section, or you can get it on Amazon, either or.
Okay,
Now,
now,
you get a signed copy if you go to my website.
where's my signed copy?
You done had it 3 times over. He keeps giving them away.
Okay.
It was a stack of books in here. We down to 1 book. 2 books. You
Two.
got 2.
Two.
I just keep saying, where the books going? He like, I don't know. Where the books going, Dre? I don't.
People asking for them. I want our job here with the Andre the Beast Crayton Show and the I Am Beast Network is to educate,
Empower,
and entertain.
Okay.
And when somebody comes in here and says, is Yolanda here? And I go, no. And they say, can we get her book? I'll be like, here you go, and it's autographed. Anything to
come
help
to
people.
the studio. We're at the Sheridan Hotel. This is our studio. We are at the Sheridan Hotel, Keystone at the Crossing, and I guess Andrea just give away a book.
Yeah, I give away a book. Now, let's talk about another part of the Branding for Success collection, which is your new book, Becoming Unforgettable. You can pick this. We'll tell you how to get this at the end. I haven't read it yet. I just got it today. Is it signed?
No,
It will be.
it will be.
I won't give this one away, I promise.
Yeah.
So tell me, from Branding to Success to Becoming Unforgettable.
From Reputation to Reward.
To Reputation to Reward to Becoming Unforgettable. Explain this one.
So once you, at the end of the day, one of the 5 steps is brand mastery, right? So you go through the different steps. It's all about authenticity, your value. You have to understand your unique value proposition. What's your story? How do you cultivate that story? Then create a positive digital footprint, and then it's mastery. Become Unforgettable, the 7 strategies to scale your brand for maximum impact, really talks about 7 strategies that can help you then to start to master the brand. Because it's one thing to sit there and do the work to put it into play.
Right.
And that's the beauty of Reputation to Reward. It's going to tell you what you need to do to put it into play. And social media in this digital environment is no joke, right? That's a table stake. But it's another thing to think about, then what do I really do? How do I keep this thing alive? How do I really amplify it in the marketplace so that people know who I am? Because at the end of the day, if they don't know you, what Grant Cardone say, they can't flow you, right?
Yeah.
They don't know you, they can't flow you.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, it's not what you know, it's not even who you know, but it's who knows you. I don't care who you know, but who knows you.
Right.
Because you know how we'll be all the time. Oh yeah, I know them. They don't even know you from Adam.
Right.
So
right.
if they don't know you, it really doesn't matter who you know.
Right. Okay. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. And so this book really talks about 7 things that you need to be doing to really be able to amplify that brand out there. It talks about the power of networking, right? It really talks about creating that compelling story. We go back into the story again because it's one thing to have your brand signature statement. That's where you kind of give your elevator pitch, right? My name is Yolanda M. Smith. I'm a people growth leader and brand therapist, helping entrepreneurs and coaches, to get and stay in business. I help through the power of branding and business strategies. I help them to be able to have influence, income, and impact. That's my brand statement. Right. But when you start talking about your story, that story that I could have just got very detailed about the story I just shared. You need to have a story. People need to understand your stories because that's when the connection happens.
Right.
And you know what I say about connection, right? Do you remember?
If you don't know, tell me.
Well, if people know you, like you, and will connect with
Oh.
you, then those are the people that will sponsor you,
Sponsor,
hire you,
hire you,
promote you.
promote.
What else? Marry you and loan you money. It don't get better than that, Andre. They gonna marry you and loan you some money.
I can use all of the above. I can use all of the above.
So that's what that is, and then it really gives you some questions, because I'm a coach, right? I'm not going to do the work for you, but it gives you some questions to consider, and then also has a section there where I'm really big on taking action, right? Action takers, are money makers. So success loves speed. Get your 90-day commitment.
What do you find without giving all of your secrets? What is out of the 7? What do you find that the 2 things that people struggle with the most in trying to understand how to, let's say their brand is already there, but they don't have the 7. Out of the 7, what are the 2 things that you encounter the most from individuals?